There are two kinds of power in this world, one that shouts and one that radiates. The first is desperate, hungry, fragile. It demands attention. It needs to be seen. The second moves in silence. Yet everyone feels it. It does not plead to be followed. It simply is, and the world bends around its gravity. You wish to build an aura so powerful it bends people to your will. Then learn first that true power does not come from domination, but from alignment. It is not the noise of the tongue, but the weight of your being. Men do not follow the loudest voice. They follow the most centered presence. Begin with the mastery of your own soul. If your mind trembles, your aura flickers. If your emotions spill, your power leaks. The first kingdom to rule is within. The one who commands himself commands all. Every impulse, every desire, every fear. These are the servants you must discipline before you command any other. The aura of power is born when your thoughts, words, and actions no longer contradict. When what you say is what you do, and what you do reflects what you believe. People sense coherence. They sense strength in stillness. The world bows not to arrogance, but to certainty. Do not seek to impress. Seek to embody. Walk as if nothing external can diminish you. Speak as if time itself listens. Look as if you already know the outcome. For the man who trusts himself makes others trust him without a word. To bend people to your will is not to force them. It is to draw them. A flame does not chase the moth. It burns with such intensity that the moth cannot resist. Your aura must be that flame. It must burn with integrity, conviction, and quiet power. Every day, temper your ego as a blacksmith tempers steel. The brittle sword breaks on the first strike, but the tempered one bends and returns to shape. Your aura will not grow by seeking admiration, but by enduring solitude. Power is not granted by crowds. It is earned in silence. Stand firm in your purpose, and the world will rearrange itself around you. Most men move with the wind. Be the mountain that shapes the wind. When others feel lost, your steadiness will pull them into your orbit. People bend to that which does not bend. Guard your words. Speak rarely, but when you do, let your words carry the weight of necessity. The powerful man speaks not to fill silence, but to define it. Every unnecessary word weakens your presence. Every promise unkept fractures your aura. Let your silence be eloquent and your speech decisive. Do not rush to prove yourself. Power that seeks validation is counterfeit. Let your results be your evidence. Let time be your ally, not your enemy. Move slowly, deliberately, as though eternity were watching. The world respects patience because patience is proof of control. Your posture, your tone, your gaze, they are all instruments of influence. A restless body reveals a restless soul. Stand straight not in vanity, but in calm awareness. Meet eyes not with hunger, but with clarity. Every gesture should say, I am in control of myself. Therefore, I am in control of this moment. Train yourself to be unshaken by praise or insult. When people see that your peace cannot be taken, they unconsciously submit to it. The one who cannot be provoked holds the higher ground. Emotional discipline is the highest form of authority. Do not let others pull you into their storms. Instead, pull them into your calm. The one who remains unbothered controls the battlefield. The one who keeps his mind clear directs the flow of chaos. When you stay composed, you silently dominate. Understand that your aura is not built in a day, nor in a single victory. It is carved by every moment you refuse to lose yourself. It grows each time you choose discipline over desire, restraint over reaction, purpose over pleasure. Each small mastery adds to your presence until one day, others simply feel your strength before you speak. Power does not need to announce itself. The lion does not declare that it is the king. It moves and the jungle makes way. The man of presence does not explain his worth. He exists, and people know. If you would bend others to your will, let your will be pure. The universe favors the mind that acts in harmony with truth. Deception corrodes the aura. It may win you followers for a moment, but it will hollow your core. The righteous man moves slowly, but his influence endures. Carry yourself as though your soul is sovereign. Let no man's opinion define your worth, no outcome dictate your peace. The aura that bends others begins with indifference to bending. When you no longer need to control others, you begin to command them. A powerful aura is not an act, it is the echo of inner order. People respond not to your words, but to your energy. They read your quiet, your confidence, your composure. When your spirit is still, your presence expands. Be disciplined in all things, your time, your thoughts, your desires. Discipline is invisible magnetism. The undisciplined scatter their energy and wonder why they are ignored. The disciplined gather their energy and wonder why people listen. Be kind, but never soft. Be calm, but never dull. Be humble, but never small. Power is the perfect balance between grace and gravity. You do not have to raise your voice when your presence raises the room. In every encounter, let others feel that you are unmoved yet aware. Let them feel your steadiness, the kind that cannot be purchased or pretended. They will bend, not because you forced them to, but because you gave them no alternative. Remember this: the man who chases control loses it. The man who is control commands it. You speak of power, yet you overlook its birthplace. You seek to influence the minds of others, yet your own mind runs wild. You wish to command attention, yet your thoughts command you. The first deception of ambition is this: to believe one can shape the world without first shaping oneself. You cannot build an aura upon chaos. You cannot build strength upon unrest. The foundation of influence is mastery of the self, for only the man who governs his own soul can govern the eyes that watch him. When your thoughts obey you, your words will follow. When your emotions serve you, your actions will align. The world feels the difference between a man who reacts and a man who decides. The first is wind, loud, directionless, scattered. The second is mountain, still, immovable, enduring. Which one do people follow? Which one do they bow before? You cannot hide unrest. It leaks through your tone, through your breath, through your silence. The aura of power is not costume. It is conduct. It cannot be painted on with charm or feigned through posture. It rises from the quiet victory within. The victory over your own impulses, your own weakness, your own need to be seen. Every day the world will tempt you to break your center. It will whisper to your pride, provoke your anger, tug at your ego. Every day is a test, and every reaction reveals the state of your kingdom. When your anger rules you, you are its subject. When your desire commands you, you are its slave. When fear grips you, it sits on your throne. How can a man whose inner court is in rebellion hope to rule the minds of others? Mastery begins not in grand moments, but in small choices. To wake when you said you would. To finish what you began. To hold your tongue when it burns to speak. To remain calm when your pulse screams revolt. Each act of discipline forges a link in the chain of command between your will and your flesh. The chain grows strong through repetition until your own being moves in obedience to your intention. That is mastery. That is where the aura begins. Your power is measured not by what you can do, but by what you can withhold. The untrained man believes freedom lies in indulgence. The wise man knows it lives in control. The one who cannot say no is not free. He is owned by his appetites. You wish to bend others, yet you cannot bend yourself. What hypocrisy to desire the obedience of men when you cannot even command your own thoughts. When you master yourself, your energy gathers like a tide. It no longer leaks through emotion. It no longer scatters in distraction. You become focused, dense, magnetic. People feel your gravity before they hear your voice. They sense in you what they lack: order, calm, purpose. They are drawn to you not because you chase them, but because you stand still while they drift. The man who is not mastered by pleasure or pain carries a serenity that others cannot name. His calm unnerves the anxious. His silence unsettles the loud. His presence disciplines the room without a word. Because his energy is not divided, it radiates whole. Because his will is unified, it feels inevitable. Such is the aura of command, not loud, not forced but certain. Do not mistake control for suppression. To master yourself is not to kill your emotions, but to place them in service to reason. Anger becomes fuel, desire becomes direction, fear becomes awareness. You are not stone, you are steel. Forged, refined, unbreakable, but alive. The fool tries to silence his emotions and becomes hollow. The wise man trains them and becomes unstoppable. The self is a battlefield. Every morning, you wake to a war between who you are and who you could be. Discipline is the weapon of the victor. The man who wins that war daily walks differently. Slower, steadier, certain. He no longer needs the applause of others, because he has earned the applause of his conscience. That applause echoes louder than praise. To master yourself is to understand your nature without being owned by it. You will feel anger. Let it remind you of what matters. You will feel desire. Let it direct you, not devour you. You will feel doubt. Let it question you, not define you. Control is not the absence of turmoil. It is the calm amid it. It is to stand in the storm without losing your footing. When you cease to be controlled by the external, your aura changes. You no longer chase validation. You no longer fear rejection. You no longer flinch at insult or dance for attention. You become a force unto yourself, inwardly sufficient, outwardly composed. People cannot help but respect that. They may not understand it, but they feel it. The one who is unmoved cannot be manipulated. The one who needs nothing cannot be bought. The one who controls his reactions cannot be controlled. That is true sovereignty. Not wealth, not rank, not fame, but command over one's own state of being. That is the throne no tyrant can overthrow, the crown that cannot be stolen. The crowd obeys its urges. The leader obeys his principles. When you master yourself, you rise above the noise of emotion that drives the masses. Their fear becomes your opportunity, their confusion your clarity. They look to you for direction because you do not waver where they do. You become the still point in their storm, and they orbit you naturally. Power begins in awareness. Watch your thoughts as they arise, your impulses as they pull, your fears as they whisper. The more you observe, the less you obey. The less you obey, the more you control. Control is born from understanding. Understanding is born from patience. The one who cannot pause cannot perceive. The one who cannot perceive cannot rule. Let your mind be still enough to see your own patterns. Where do you falter? What provokes you? What tempts you to betray yourself? To master the self, you must study it. Know your triggers, know your weaknesses, know your excuses, and then dismantle them one by one. Do not pity yourself, confront yourself. You cannot lead what you refuse to face. Every man wants power. Few want the burden that comes with it. The burden of self-discipline, of restraint, of honesty with one's own failings. True power is heavy. It requires endurance. It demands that you carry yourself like a soldier, even when no one watches. It demands that you win the invisible battles that others will never see. In solitude, you will forge your strength. The world will not witness your small victories. The morning you resisted temptation, the night you conquered despair, the moment you stayed silent instead of reacting. But each act etches its mark upon your aura, unseen but unmistakable. Power grows in silence. Presence is built in private. The world cannot resist the one who resists himself. The man who has mastered his impulses commands respect because he has done what most cannot. When people meet such a man, they feel his balance and instinctively align to it. They bend not from fear, but from recognition. Recognition of something whole, something stable, something complete. Do not rush this work. It is lifelong. Each day you fail, you are reminded of your task. Each mistake is instruction. Each emotion is a lesson in disguise. Be patient with your becoming. The mountain does not rise in an hour. It rises from centuries of pressure. Your composure, your discipline, your command, all are built by pressure. Endure it with grace. When the world provokes you, remember, it is not the insult that reveals your weakness. It is your reaction. The one who can anger you owns you. Do not hand your power so easily. Keep your calm as a sacred ground. No one enters without your permission. To lose your temper is to open the gates of your kingdom to chaos. To keep your calm is to guard your throne. You will be tested by fools. They will provoke you, insult you, misunderstand you. Let them. Each insult is a weight to lift. Each irritation a chance to strengthen your control. Power is built in resistance. Do not curse your challenges, they are your teachers. The world sharpens those who refuse to break. Remember, mastery of self is not a destination, it is a posture. It is the way you meet life. Not with frenzy, but with form. Not with fear, but with presence. The untrained mind chases pleasure and avoids pain. The disciplined mind uses both as tools. Everything serves the one who knows how to use it. Your aura is the echo of your internal discipline. When you have learned to control your attention, people will give you theirs. When you have learned to direct your emotions, others will feel safe in your presence. When you have learned to rule yourself, others will seek your rule. Influence begins with self-governance. Command begins with composure. The aura you desire will come when your being is aligned. When thought, emotion, and action speak one language, then your presence becomes a declaration. Then you no longer try to influence, you simply exist, and influence happens as consequence. The man who has mastered himself does not walk faster than others. He walks heavier. His footsteps carry meaning because his spirit does not scatter. His stillness draws attention because it is rare. In a world addicted to noise, calmness is the loudest sound. Every hour spent conquering yourself increases the gravity of your presence. Every discipline adds weight to your name. Every controlled reaction strengthens the unseen armor of your character. You become not a performer but a force. Not a beggar for respect but a giver of it. People sense it. They feel it before they understand it. To master yourself is to build a fortress that cannot be breached. It is to live free from the tyranny of moods and impulses. It is to stand unmoved in a world that trembles. The man who has done this carries his kingdom within him, and wherever he goes, the air shifts. That is power. That is aura. That is the first and greatest conquest. Power is not in forcing others to bend, but in standing so still they choose to align. You have learned the first lesson, that mastery begins within. But now you must learn the deeper one, the quiet force of composure, the unspoken command of presence. You believe power is an act of pressure, that men yield when you push them. But the greatest power exerts no push at all. It simply stands, unmoving, unbothered, unbreakable, and the world reorders itself around it. The tree that holds through storm teaches this. It does not chase the wind. It does not fight the rain. Yet its roots conquer the ground. To bend others by standing still, that is the art of invisible command. For the world does not truly follow those who demand obedience, but those whose stillness reveals they have already won. There is a majesty in calm, a gravity in steadiness, a kind of quiet confidence that humbles the restless. When a man has anchored his being so deeply that chaos cannot sway him, others unconsciously seek his stability. The noisy mind longs to follow the still one, for stillness is rare and rarity is revered. You must learn the language of silence, for silence speaks louder than persuasion. When you cease to prove, you begin to command. When you no longer reach, others lean toward you. The aura of command is not built through domination, but through demonstration. The demonstration that you are untouched by the tides that pull everyone else. The moment you stop seeking control, control begins to flow toward you. The untrained believe leadership is about movement, gestures, declarations, noise. But all movement is born from stillness. The arrow flies because the string was once drawn to rest. The wave crashes because the sea was once calm. You must become that stillness, the invisible source from which direction arises. Power is not movement, power is the origin of movement. When you stand so centered that no opinion shakes you, no event disturbs you, no insult penetrates you, your presence begins to speak before you do. It says here is one who cannot be bought, cannot be broken, cannot be moved. The world listens to that voice even in silence. People do not bend to your will because you forced them to. They bend because they sense that your will cannot be bent. Understand this deeply. Force provokes resistance, but stillness invites surrender. The one who tries to dominate awakens rebellion, but the one who stands unshaken awakens respect. The river bends not because the rock fights it, but because the rock endures, and with time, endurance wins every war. The man who holds his ground outlasts the storm that sought to move him. To stand still does not mean to do nothing. It means to act from peace, not panic. It means to move only when your purpose commands it, not when your fears push you. The one who acts from stillness acts with precision. The one who acts from chaos wastes his power in every motion. There is strength in slowness, there is command in calm. The weak rush to speak, the powerful wait for silence. The weak demand to be heard, the powerful are listened to without asking. The world can sense which soul stands rooted and which merely trembles. When your stillness is real, people feel it, not as arrogance, but as authority. It is the difference between noise and tone, between shadow and substance. A man in control of himself does not need to raise his hand or his voice. His very being is a law. You cannot fake this kind of strength. It radiates from the unseen alignment within. The crowd senses it the way one senses gravity. It draws them closer, not by compulsion, but by natural law. To bend people to your will is not to bend their bodies. It is to bend their attention, their trust, their desire to follow. In every room, energy moves toward the most grounded presence. It is instinct. When others argue, stay calm. When they rush, move slowly. When they panic, breathe. Soon their rhythm will match yours. Your steadiness will absorb their chaos. This is how influence truly works, not by command, but by contagion. You will find that the less you seek to control, the more control you possess. For the frantic man loses everything he grasps at. The calm man attracts what he needs. The desperate mind repels. The composed mind draws. Stillness is the invisible magnet of the soul. People sense in it a promise of safety, a whisper of strength, a proof of mastery. The great paradox is this: to lead, you must cease chasing followers. To influence, you must cease trying to impress. To bend others, you must stop trying to bend them. Be the axis, not the orbit. Be the center, not the spin. The one who moves least becomes the one around whom all things move. When your purpose is clear, your energy stills. When your mind is disciplined, your presence sharpens. When your emotions are tamed, your gaze steadies. This combination builds a field around you, invisible but undeniable. People feel when a man has no internal conflict. They feel when his actions and his thoughts are one. That alignment radiates a quiet strength that makes others question their own noise. They will listen, not because you ask, but because your silence asks louder than words. Learn to be unmoved not from apathy, but from depth. Indifference is emptiness, composure is fullness. The shallow cannot be still because every ripple shakes them. The deep can hold storms without being disturbed. Become deep. Let life test you. Let insult, temptation, and confusion come. Let them strike the surface, but not the core. Each time you remain still in the face of provocation, your power compounds. Each act of calm in chaos builds a new layer of command. Do not fear being misunderstood. The man who stands still will always seem strange to those who run. They will call you distant. They will call you cold, but in time they will see. Your stillness was not detachment, it was discipline. Your calm was not pride, it was precision. People cannot immediately understand true strength, for it threatens their illusions. Yet they will return to you when their noise has exhausted them. The truly powerful man does not mirror the world, he defines it. When others lose direction, they look for the one who has not moved. When they lose faith, they seek the one whose gaze has not flickered. When they lose hope, they seek the one whose composure has not cracked. You become a reference point, a living compass. because you have chosen to stand when others kneel before circumstance. Stillness is not absence of movement. It is the mastery of movement. It is the choice to move only when aligned with your principles. The fool reacts, the wise respond. The fool seeks to impress, the wise embodies. The fool rushes to control. The wise stands so firm that control comes to him. This is not mysticism. It is nature. The strongest forces in the world do not shout gravity, time, the pull of the tide. So it must be with you. People bend not because you demand it, but because your steadiness makes their chaos unbearable. They align not because you order them to, but because your calm gives them peace. You will see it in conversation, how voices lower when you remain silent, how tempers cool when you refuse to react, how even the proud soften when they sense no struggle from you. Stillness disarms where argument fails. But stillness must not be mistaken for passivity. Power is not in hiding, it is in holding. Hold your position, hold your truth, hold your dignity. The world respects the one who refuses to be hurried or shaken. To stand still while all others rush is not weakness. It is supreme confidence in your direction. The river may rage, but the mountain does not move. Let your stillness come from clarity, not from fear of movement. To stand still requires more courage than to fight. The coward reacts because silence is unbearable to him. The disciplined stand because they know that all storms end, and what remains standing after is what was always strong. When your will is calm, your actions become inevitable. Others sense inevitability and yield. They feel that your choices come not from emotion but from truth, and truth has a weight they cannot resist. The one who is centered does not argue. He simply is, and his being exerts quiet pressure on everything around him. Even your enemies will hesitate before a calm man, for rage cannot pierce calm, it finds no surface to cling to. The calm man makes the angry one question himself. He disarms opposition not by force, but by reflection. When the world sees itself in your stillness, it begins to quiet down. That is the hidden mastery of influence. To let your composure become a mirror that reveals others to themselves. The man who has learned stillness commands time. He is never rushed, never late, never desperate. His patience becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. He does not chase outcomes, he arranges them. Because he does not act from panic, his every move feels deliberate, destined. The world mistakes this for luck. It is not luck, it is alignment. There is nothing louder than a man who does not speak when provoked. There is nothing more powerful than one who does not explain when accused. There is nothing more commanding than one who waits while others crumble. Stillness is the highest form of motion, invisible, constant, unstoppable. When you have reached this stillness, others will bend without knowing why. They will sense in you what they have lost in themselves. Center, balance, conviction. Your calm will expose their restlessness, your patience will reveal their haste. Some will resist it, some will resent it, but all will respect it, because in their hearts they will know the one who stands unmoved has already won. Silence, discipline, and certainty radiate louder than any command. You have learned the mastery of self. You have learned the stillness that bends the world without a word. Now you must learn to let your presence speak. For the greatest influence is not in speech, but in energy. The greatest authority is not in decree, but in being. Men follow the voice that does not shout, because it carries no desperation. They follow the will that does not waver, because it carries no doubt. The world bends not before the noise of authority, but before the calm of conviction. There are voices that thunder and achieve nothing, and there are silences that move nations. The tongue is a tool, but silence is a weapon. You must learn when to sheath it, for every time you speak without purpose, you waste power. Every unnecessary word drains the electricity of your presence. The disciplined man does not fill silence. He defines it. He does not speak to prove he knows. He speaks only when his words can no longer be denied. Discipline is the architecture of the aura. Without it you scatter. With it, you gather. every act of restraint, every moment of composure, every refusal to react. These are bricks in the invisible fortress that people sense around you. When your discipline governs your movements, when your certainty governs your mind, when your silence guards your energy, you become magnetic without trying. You cannot command with noise. Command is calm. It flows from one who has conquered the need to perform. It arises from inner order, from quiet certainty in one's direction. People listen to the disciplined because they trust them, not through words, but through rhythm, through presence, through the way they inhabit every breath. Look at the man who lacks discipline. His energy leaks through every reaction. He rushes to defend, to explain, to argue, to be seen. His aura flickers with every mood. He wonders why others do not follow, why respect evades him. It is because instability cannot lead. The undisciplined man is loud but hollow. His words crumble because his will is inconsistent. Now look at the disciplined. His movements are measured, his words deliberate, his tone steady. He does not hurry, for he knows his timing. He does not overpromise, for he knows his limits. He does not shout, for he knows his strength. People feel it, that quiet, effortless certainty that needs no display. In that feeling, influence is born. Certainty does not mean arrogance. It means clarity. The arrogant man forces, the certain man flows. He does not need to convince, for his conviction is visible. He does not seek agreement, for truth does not need applause. He knows where he stands, and because of that, others know where to stand around him. The world craves certainty. In times of confusion, the certain man becomes the compass. You must therefore cultivate these three: silence, discipline, certainty, as if they were the lungs through which your power breathes. Silence sharpens your perception, discipline strengthens your will, and certainty steadies your path. When these three align, your presence becomes undeniable. Silence is your teacher. It reveals the truth of your own mind. It shows you how often you speak from fear, how often you answer without thought, how often your words are not born of wisdom but of impatience. In silence you meet yourself. It is a mirror without distortion. The more you can endure silence, the more power you hold. The weak rush to fill it because they cannot bear what it reveals. The strong sit within it until silence itself bows to them. Discipline is your armor. It is what keeps your energy whole. Without it, you drift into indulgence, reaction, distraction. The disciplined man holds his time like a blade, sharp, precise, effective. He knows when to rest and when to act, when to speak and when to watch, when to strike and when to wait. Others waste their strength through restlessness. He gathers his through rhythm. Discipline is the invisible command that governs all external command. Certainty is your sword. It cuts through the fog of doubt that blinds lesser minds. Certainty does not come from ego, but from experience. It comes from testing your will in hardship, from holding your word when it cost you comfort, from standing in integrity when it was easier to bend. Each kept promise adds weight to your certainty. Each broken one steals from it. Certainty is forged in the furnace of follow-through. These three, silence, discipline, certainty, form the geometry of greatness. They move as one. Silence without discipline is apathy. Discipline without certainty is rigidity. Certainty without silence is arrogance. But when the three merge, a man becomes complete. He becomes whole, and wholeness is irresistible. When you walk in silence, people listen to the sound of your restraint. When you act with discipline, people feel the strength of your consistency. When you speak with certainty, people believe before you finish the sentence. Influence is not persuasion, it is presence. You must understand that energy communicates faster than language. Before you speak, your body speaks. Before your words reach their ears, your certainty reaches their instincts. A man whose soul is aligned transmits command before he utters a word. You can feel it in his stillness, in the precision of his breath, in the steadiness of his eyes. He carries no excess motion because he has nothing to prove. The undisciplined move too much, the uncertain speak too long, the insecure seek too hard. When you have silence, discipline, and certainty, you are beyond needing attention. Attention will come uninvited, because people crave what you have: order, control, direction. The world is full of noise, and those drowning in it will always seek the one who moves quietly. Learn to speak less and mean more. Let every word feel weighed, deliberate, final. When you speak, it should feel like the last line of a truth that needed no introduction. Do not use words to impress, use them to anchor. Speak as though the moment depended on it, as though the silence before and after are witnesses. The undisciplined speak to fill time, the disciplined speak to mark it. Control your expression as you control your thoughts. Every gesture, every glance, every tone of voice, these are extensions of your inner command. Let them flow from discipline, not from impulse. The world reads you even when you are silent. It hears your posture. It listens to your composure. It responds to your energy more than your arguments. If silence is the measure of your control, discipline is the rhythm of your existence. The disciplined man rises not when he feels like it, but when he said he would. He trains not when motivated, but when duty calls. He speaks not when eager, but when truth requires. The disciplined do not wait for mood, they act from decision. Their consistency terrifies the erratic because it exposes instability. Discipline gives you weight. It turns your promises into laws. When you say you will do something, people believe. Not because you said it, but because they have seen your pattern. The undisciplined must convince. The disciplined need only declare. This is how authority is born. Not from words, but from the reliability of action. Certainty gives you direction. It tells the world that your compass is internal. When you know your course, you no longer need to compare paths. You no longer compete, you simply advance. Certainty radiates as peace, not loud, not defiant, just unshakable. It is not pride, it is precision. It is the knowing that what is true remains true, whether the crowd agrees or not. In a room full of doubt, certainty is king. In a world full of noise, silence is divine. In a generation of distraction, discipline is power. These are not soft virtues, they are iron laws. They are the unspoken architecture of influence. When others are loud, your silence will echo louder. When others falter, your discipline will stand taller. When others hesitate, your certainty will move first. This is how the few rise among the many, not through effort, but through embodiment. You must become a living example of alignment. When you are silent, people should sense depth, not absence. When you are disciplined, people should feel rhythm, not rigidity. When you are certain, people should feel calm, not superiority. Because true certainty is humble. It does not need to boast. It only needs to be consistent. The aura of such a man is unmistakable. It settles the air around him. It quiets the restless, steadies the anxious, humbles the arrogant. His silence speaks authority. His discipline commands respect. His certainty inspires trust. The world bends naturally to the one who bends himself to order. Most people speak before they think, act before they plan, promise before they intend. Their energy is scattered, their aura thin. They demand loyalty, but offer no stability. The disciplined man, however, needs no demand. His reliability breeds loyalty without words. His silence invites respect. His certainty inspires confidence. This is how true influence is earned, not through manipulation, but through mastery. Hold your energy like a blade, sharp, reserved, dangerous in restraint. Every time you act without discipline, your edge dulls. Every time you speak without purpose, your signal weakens. Every time you doubt your course, your power disperses. Keep your energy gathered. Let it accumulate. The longer you hold it, the heavier your presence becomes. You cannot control others, but you can compel them. Compulsion comes from weight, and weight comes from focus. The more disciplined your focus, the more magnetic your being. When you walk into a room, people feel the density of your silence, the steadiness of your gaze, the inevitability of your will. They cannot help but align. Let silence be your strategy, discipline your strength, and certainty your direction. Together they make you untouchable. When chaos rises, your silence will be your shield. When temptation whispers, your discipline will be your defense. When doubt clouds your path, your certainty will be your light. People do not follow noise. They follow clarity. They do not obey fear. They obey confidence. They do not bend to chaos. They bend to calm. You will not need to shout. You will not need to persuade. You will not need to demand. Your silence will speak. Your discipline will prove. Your certainty will decide. This is the unseen law of power. What is mastered internally will manifest externally. What is quiet within will command without. What is certain within will become inevitable without. The one who governs his silence, his discipline, and his certainty becomes the law wherever he stands.